August 1945. The world holds its breath. The war in Europe is over, but in the Pacific, Japan refuses to surrender. President Truman faces an impossible choice: end the war with a devastating new weapon, or continue a bloody invasion. In our timeline, the atomic bomb was dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, killing hundreds of thousands and forever changing the world. But what if that moment never came? What if the United States never dropped the atomic bomb? In this alternate timeline, Truman hesitates. Scientists warn of the bomb's destructive power. And moral advisors urge caution. Instead of authorizing the atomic strike, Truman opts for a naval blockade and continued conventional warfare. The Manhattan Project's success remains a secret known only to a handful of people. The world, unknowingly, steps on to a very different path. Without the atomic bomb, the US launches Operation Downfall, the planned invasion of Japan. The fighting is brutal. Japanese civilians are armed, and cities become fortresses. Casualties rise into the millions. By late 1946, Japan finally surrenders, but at an unimaginable cost. Over 3 million dead, including hundreds of thousands of American troops. With the bomb unused, the world never witnesses nuclear horror. There are no images of Hiroshima or Nagasaki to haunt humanity. Nuclear weapons remain theoretical, a secret science project buried in classified files. As a result, the nuclear arms race slows. The Soviet Union, learning of America's secret years later, begins its own project in silence. By the early 1950s, the Cold War looks very different, quieter, colder, and more uncertain. Without the mushroom cloud's shadow, the Cold War becomes a battle of ideology and technology, not fear. No arms race, no Cuban Missile Crisis, no doctrine of mutually assured destruction. Instead, both sides focus on economic dominance, propaganda, and espionage. Space becomes the new battlefield sooner. By 1965, the Soviet Union lands the first humans on the moon. The US responds with new urgency, shifting global influence toward innovation instead of intimidation. But there's another consequence. Because nuclear deterrence never exists, conventional wars continue. Korea, Vietnam, even Europe sees tension rise again. Without the fear of annihilation, nations take greater risks. The Cold War burns hotter in small conflicts around the world. Ironically, by not using the bomb, humanity may have prolonged its suffering in other ways. By the 21st century, nuclear weapons finally emerge, but decades late. Without Hiroshima as a warning, the world views them as tools, not terrors. When small-scale nuclear use begins in later conflicts, humanity finally realizes what Truman once feared. In a twisted way, the very horror we avoided in 1945 eventually returns, multiplied. History, it seems, never forgives silence. The atomic bomb marked the dawn of a new age, one defined by fear, power, and restraint. Without it, the world may have seen more bloodshed, but less dread. It's impossible to know which path was right. Perhaps the question isn't what if we hadn't dropped the bomb, but whether humanity ever truly learned from it. If history changed, would we have changed with it? Subscribe for more alternate timelines every week.